Hello everyone, my name is Legend Ronnie and this game is Rise of Kingdoms. What we're going to talk today about is the reserves, and will reserves actually help you save speed ups, and when they are actually helping you save speed ups, are reserves actually worth fighting for? When they are good, how to use them, and everything starting from free to play until pay to win. So if you actually want to know more in depth about the reserves, I wanted to do this video for a very long time, and I wanted to explain it in details about the reserves. Right, so you're probably noticing that I have quite a large amount of reserves, level 5 reserve, level 4 reserves, and there's also the level 6 reserves, which you can get them from the VIP shop. Once you obtain VIP 17, gives you 50,000 reserves. Well, that's obviously for pay to win player. VIP 17 is not very easy to obtain. It's also not very accessible for a lot of players. I also don't purchase the reserves. It doesn't worth the gems, even though you're noticing that I have the 50,000 pops going right now on my buildings. And for the record, if you're wondering, it's 37 days. So that's how long it takes for a level 6 reserves, which is 50,000 plus the normal 2,000. It's 37 days. So that's quite a lot of time. But I'm gonna let this run as normal because we had a 15% rune. And I was personally curious about the level 6 reserves. I was really curious if the reserves actually save me time, if the reserves will actually save me speed ups more precisely, because that's what actually everyone would be interested in. If they pop reserves, will that actually save you a lot of speed ups? And I'm here to say you that it's the same time. So training 2000 at a time or using reserves is the same time, meaning that you spend the same amount of speed ups, either you train 2000 at a time or you train with the 20,000 or 10,000 reserves. You use the same amount of speed ups. But the reserves are very helpful on few particular moments. And that's when it actually saving you time, and that's when it actually saving you speed ups. So for example, you have the kingdom buff, which is 10%. Then you have the rune, which can be 10-15%. You have the duke, which is also 10%. Then you go to the alliance. You have the holy site, shrine of war plus storm altar, which they also stack. That's another 15%. So when you have all this march speed together stocked up, that's the best moment when you want to use those reserves. Because if you train daily 2000 troops, let's be honest, how many actually go and search for a training rune just to start another 2000 training? How many? People are just collecting the troops and just training new. Nobody is actually bothering. Probably just a very small percentage. They are actually searching for rune, or maybe asking for duke to just queue up another 8000 troops, 2000 on each building. But when you have the kingdom buff, when you have all this lining up together, that is the perfect moment when you want to use reserves. Now, a lot of players use reserves to actually train faster. That's also very useful, but if you're a free to play, that's not very useful for you. That's not the way a free to play should actually use the reserves. If you actually want to use your speed ups, the best way is just go by 2000. Forget the duke at that moment, because nobody's gonna keep duke on you for half an hour, or just keep it for for how long you can, and just go for it, and after that just do it with whatever you have left. But when you use the reserves is the moment when you train normally as a free to play. As pay to win, you use them both ways because you buy them, so it doesn't make any difference for you. But as a free to play, you want to have reserves going as normal. So for example, a 22,000 reserves, 4 tier 4 troops, it takes about 11 days. 4 tier 5 troops, 15.5 to 16 days, depending on the amount of training speed you have. I have VIP 17, so obviously for me it's a little bit less. Because that's time that is passing daily. Now if you daily just train without all those reduction, you can do the math yourself. It's probably about a day and 5 hours. But if you pop the boosts, when all these reductions apply, whenever there is a training buff, a good rune, a duke, and you get into alliance that has this holy size, that's the perfect moment when you want to pop the reserves. And like I mentioned, you can do your math. So if you train by 2000 at a day, you can do the math on 11 trainings. For example, if you're using a 20,000 boost plus 2000, that's 11 trainings. So you can do that times 11 and you can see how much time you're spending to train those, and probably you're not even logging on when they actually finish, because they probably have like another 5 hours left, and you're not going to throw in some speed ups just to finish 5 hours. You're probably just going to sleep, you wake up, you probably go to work. So how much time you're wasting on training by 2000 at a time, while using the reserves, that's continuous time. And when they finished, you just wait for another very good moment and then you pop them, because even if you're free to play, you still get the reserves either from KVK, either from Ark of Osiris, or I'm not sure if there's any events. There is a DICE event that is also coming up. So yeah, even as free to play, you still make some reserves. Now I want to give you another tips and advices. If you're free to play, don't queue up siege. That's the least of your troops that you're probably interested in. Am I right? Don't queue up archers either. That should again be the least troops that you're interested in. You're throwing those in defense, you're throwing them in rallies. So that should be the least amount of troops that you should actually spend speed ups, or you should actually throw in reserves for. So that way you narrow on your reserve where you actually spend them as free to play, because you don't get as many stuff as the pay to win do. So you need to be very conservative and preserve the stuff that you have for as long as you can. So the best way is for you to actually go for infantry and cabs. And if you actually have one of them, you actually have too many and you're doing like 3-4 cav marches, then you can probably just focus on cabs and actually just train that troop that you're using the most or you have the best commanders for. If you actually think you have cabs, then you can probably do infantry or just to boost some archers. That is exactly how free-to-play should use their reserves. When is the perfect time? Because that's how you actually gain time and that's how you actually save speed ups. And when you actually want to train troops, because obviously some speed ups you do get as a free-to-play, 1 minute, 5 minutes, and whatever other training speed up you do get as free-to-play as well, you just train by 2000. You can hold the Duke for as long as you can. When all the training speed ups align, like I said, the Kingdom buff, the title, the rune, the alliance technology, get the Duke, you train for as long as they let you have it, and then you just train without Duke using those speed ups. But using the reserves when everything aligns, my advice, that is the best moment. But that's the whole point about the reserves, is because those all reduction training speeds that I'm talking about, I call them reductions, because they reduce your training speed time. Those are very rare when all of them align together. That's why the reserves are the best time to actually use it. Then mostly pay to win, they just use them because it's just faster to train. I mean, when you want to train 1 million troops or 1.5 million troops to just go by 2000, you'll go crazy. But a free to play will not have that amount of speed ups, or I'm not saying never, but it will be very hard for a free to play or low spender to actually have those amounts of speed ups. Now I'm also gonna add a little bit of training, because I had done a training. I'm not sure how much I trained, a little bit over 500,000 troops, and I'm also gonna add it to this video so you guys can actually see where I'm actually and how I'm actually using the reserves for that. But this is the best way how you can actually use the reserves. Now if you have any questions about reserves, you can definitely ask them in the comment section below and I'll be happy to answer them. Until next time, this is your boy Geronimo signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care. See you on the next one.